Hi, today's story is the story of the goddess Durga. Durga is a badass, powerful warrior goddess. Her name literally means fortress, and she is a fortress of strength and grace. And so what happened? The beginning of the story starts with a demon. And when you listen to these stories, remember that this isn't something that just happened a long, long time ago. These stories are stories about what's happening in your heart all the time, every single day. And you are every character in the story. So a long time ago, but not so long ago, there was a demon, and his name was Mahisha. And Mahisha got really super strong and powerful by doing something that I bet you do, something that a lot of us are doing, starts with a Y, yoga, right? So Mahisha was doing all this yoga, and one of my teachers says that yoga is an equal opportunity and power, meaning it's really the heart that's important, right? You can do all the practices, but we're doing them for the wrong reason, like Mahisha. I'm sure you know the whole lot of people out there are super good at yoga and can put their leg behind their head, but they're still an asshole, right? So this was Mahisha. He's doing all these practices, all these austerities, like standing on one leg for 1,000 years and then standing on the other leg for 1,000 years and subsisting only on air for 1,000 years. Until finally Brahma, the creator, he takes note and he says, oh, my friend, you're doing such a good job there. All this tapasya, all these austerities that you're doing. I want to give you some boon, some gift for all this hard work that you're doing. And Mahisha says, oh, yes, my yoga's finally working. Now I get something from it. Now I get some power, some control over people. It's finally working. And Mahisha says, easy, I know what I want. I want to be invincible. I want no weapon, no man, nothing to kill me. Brahma says, look, even I, the great creator, I can't give you that because whatever is born must die. That's just the way of things. But I can do this for you. I can let you choose how you're going to die. And Mahisha says, piece of cake. I love this choice. Let it be at the hand of a woman because there's no woman on earth who's more powerful than I am. Brahma says, okay, as you wish, so shall it be done. And now Mahisha thinks that he is all powerful. He thinks there's no way a woman could ever kill him. And so he goes around and he's stealing and burning and taking and just being a total menace. And he's conquered the entire human world. He's conquered the entire earth. He's getting so strong. And now he's about to go and conquer the world of the gods. And all the gods are terrified. They're like, what do we do? Nobody can defeat him. They try going up against him, and no one can defeat Mahisha and his army because he has this boon. So Shiva's all distraught, and Vishnu's all distraught, and Indra's all distraught, and they're all just totally frustrated. What do we do? What do we do? So they come together, right? Shiva comes, and Vishnu comes, and all the gods and goddesses come, and Hanuman comes, and Ganesha comes, and Indra comes, and Agni comes. So they're all together now, and they're sharing their pain. And they're sharing their frustration. They're in this kind of circle, a little bit of a huddle, and they're feeling the burn, the fire of their anger. And as they share their fire, it starts to grow a little bit brighter. It's kind of in the pit of their stomach. You know, when you get mad and angry about some injustice in the world and you feel that fire, right? So they've all got that. And as they're sharing, as they're communing with each other and sharing their hearts with each other, that fire that's in the very bottom of their belly, it starts to rise up. It rises up, it passes through the abdomen, it rises up and it meets their hearts. And when it gets to their hearts, it softens a little bit. And instead of being like, we hate him, we just want to destroy him and take him down, it becomes more of, we want to help people. You know, we've got to save the world. This isn't just about taking one jerk down. This is about what's best for all beings everywhere. So it's got more softness and more compassion as it comes through the heart, and then it continues to rise. It comes through their throat, and then finally Shiva, he's the first one to open his mouth. And when he does, it shocks even him because this brilliant white light comes pouring out of his mouth. It's shimmering, it's shining, it's so beautiful. Just this stream like a laser beam. And then Vishnu opens his mouth and red light pours out of his mouth. And all around the circle, one at a time, each of the gods opens his mouth and a different brilliantly colored light pours out. And then all these lights come together and they meet in the center of this circle. And when they do, it's so powerful, everyone has to look away. It's so beautiful and resplendent. And when they look back, there she is. She's riding a big furry tiger between her legs, and she is the most gorgeous, powerful looking goddess with all these arms. And in some stories, I like this part, say the first thing that they do is they decorate her. They give her beautiful earrings, and they give her a gorgeous red and gold sari, and they give her bangles, and once she's decorated, then they give her weapons. So she's got all these arms, and each of the gods gives her his special weapon. So Shiva gives her his trident, and Vishnu gives her his discus, and Hanuman gives her his mace, and Indra gives her his thunderbolt, and Ganesha gives her his axe, and on until on every arm she's got some sharp, powerful weapon. And once she's completely armed in every hand with a weapon, she lets out a fierce battle cry that can be heard all through the three worlds, like ah, this howl. And way off in his kingdom, Mahish's heart gets cold. He hears this distant cry and he thinks, oh, I don't think that was good. But in a moment of bad decision making, he decides to ignore that, and he continues just doing what he's doing. He doesn't listen to that voice inside that says, hey, you better chill. And so he continues stealing, burning, just being awful. And so Durga gets on that tiger, and she rides right up to the gates of Mahisha's kingdom, and she tells the man at the gate, I'm here to kill Mahisha, send him out. Mahisha peeks out the door, and what does he see? He sees this gorgeous woman riding this furry tiger with all these arms, and he's just totally enthralled by her. And he says to his man, you go tell her that she should marry me. She shouldn't fight me. She should marry a woman as beautiful as that. She shouldn't be fighting and having all these weapons. She should be my wife, and we'll rule the world together. So the man goes and tells Durga what Mahisha said, and Durga's smart. She says, okay, tell Mahisha that I will marry him, but only if he can defeat me in battle. Mahisha thinks, piece of cake, I got this. And so he calls his armies, all of his best men, giant, fierce warriors. It's like a scene from Game of Thrones or something like that, like bows and arrows and swords and scary, scary dudes. And they all start charging after this one beautiful goddess. You know what she does? She doesn't freak out. She doesn't start to panic. She doesn't reach for her weapons. She actually finds a rock and she sits down. She sits down, she arranges her sari, she closes her eyes, and she drops her mind into her heart. She focuses on her breath. And then, just as the men are about to reach her, her third eye opens, and out from her third eye pours an army of fierce warrior goddesses. And those goddesses make quick work of the men. They are just chopping heads off left and right until the battlefield is a bloody mess of men. Now Mahisha is terrified. Now he knows that he's got to go fight her himself, but he won't even do it as his real true self. He takes the form of all these different shapes. He comes charging at her like an elephant, trying to wrap his trunk around the paw of the lion to tear her off the lion, and she pierces the elephant. And as soon as she does, the elephant turns into a giant warrior, 100 feet tall, plated with armor. She cuts the head off the warrior, and he keeps changing, he keeps shape-shifting, and she keeps killing and killing until finally he comes at her in the form of a buffalo, and he's charging at her. And at this point, she's had just about enough of this guy, and so she drops her weapons. She drops all of her sharp, awful hard weapons, her swords, her axes. She leaps up off of her tiger. She lets out that battle cry, that wild howl again, and she lands on the neck of Mahisha with the very soft, sweet underbelly of her beautiful foot. And she holds him down with her foot, right? So not with a weapon. She didn't kill him with a weapon. She killed him with the sweetest, softest, most vulnerable part of herself. And in that moment, she has her foot on his neck. He's struggling to breathe. Excuse me. He looks up at her, and all he sees is grace. All he sees is love. And she looks down at him, and she sees his pain, right? Because that's all we want. Anyone who's trying to hurt us, they have their own pain, right? They're acting out their own painful stories. And all we really want, any of us, is to be seen and understood, for somebody to say, yeah, you matter. I get you. right? So she looks down at him and she sees him, and she sees him with nothing but love in her eyes. And when he sees that, he experiences absolute ecstasy and grace. And when he does die, he dies in a state of total bliss. And Durga gets back on her big furry tiger and rides off into the sunset.